Good morning. Almost didn't make it back in time. So while we wait for some people to come in here, just hold on a second. I got to do something. It's it's amateur hour here. Amateur. I've only got one person in here though, so that's cool. That's cool. What's up? And almost forgot something else. I don't know why I don't have my green screen up. Oh, let's do that one here. All right. Good morning. Got a few things to talk about. Morning from Georgia. Georgia. Hey, that's a good place for a flatbed / step deck. Just saying. That's gonna be a good one. I started my morning coffee without my morning coffee, so I had to get up and do that. So we'll get some more people in here. I guess notifications aren't going out widespread because neither one of my phones have gone off. So there's that. I think YouTube's like, hey, we're gonna slow your roll. What's up, Grafton? My name got a lot. Well, there's a lot of things going on. YouTube's kind of gotten, despite the notification issue, and YouTube's kind of taken off a little bit, so that's good. I think it's this awesome mic that was donated. There's a notification, so that's good. So we'll give it a few minutes. I hope everyone had a great weekend and or a profitable weekend, or the best, a restful and profitable weekend. That's the sweet spot. Going home under a load, and you're making money. You know, they say true wealth is, or true independence is making money when you sleep. And yeah, I agree with that. If you can make money while you're sleeping, you're good to go. All right, notifications finally came out. Looking at my two phones here. Yes, I still carry two phones because makes it a lot easier to run this business, both with that thing and with the dispatch. Been dealing with some allergy issues this weekend. That means the trees are about to turn, the weather's changing, and it's perfect temperature. So Matt, if you're watching, it's the perfect temperature up here. So we'll get you up here and out of Oklahoma. All right. Good morning. Hope all is well. Get my notebook ready because I'm gonna write some stuff down. If I can find a pen, there's one. So interesting. The title is not a doom and gloom title. We're not talking about the storm of freight disparity. We're talking about a real, actual storm. Let me share the screen here. All right, so here's what's going on. Let me zoom that in. The entire state of Florida was put under a state of emergency on Saturday as Tropical Storm Ian, which is now a hurricane, gradually strengthened and gained speed. Why is this important, Steve? I don't live in Florida. Yeah, but here's what's going to happen. Okay, so let me find the other picture here. Saturday, 7 a.m. It's going to be about right there. Okay. Now here's the important part. It's probably going to hit the Tampa area as a Category 3 on Thursday. Now That's later. That's late this week, right? Here's why this is important, because you're going to be probably somewhere in, I don't know, maybe Ohio, and you're going to see a broker post a load, and two things are going to happen, okay? And I've dealt with this personally. You're going to see a load, and I'll do the shout outs here in a second. You're going to see a load that's paying $5 a mile to go to Tampa Bay, Florida. And you're going to be like, yeah, I'll deal with the low Florida rates coming out. I'll deadhead out, man. $5 a mile. That's great. So you're going to book that load. And then the oh crap factor will happen about Wednesday when you realize that there's a hurricane heading right for where you're delivering. Yeah, don't put yourself in that position. Now, the opposite of that is you're going to see a lot of loads suddenly increase. They're going to be water, they're going to be building supplies, and they're not going to pay squat to go into there. So don't put yourself in that position for very little money if you knowingly do it. In other words, bottom line is pay attention to the weather. I mean, we're almost to the season that we have to worry about snow. Yeah, I said that four-letter word, snow. But, in that magic, unicorn, big paying FEMA load, that was a thing back in, Hurricane Katrina. So I remember when I was at Landstar, there was a lot of drivers that told me that they got paid $1,000 to sit with the trailer full of water, bottled water, or a trailer full of insulation, or a trailer full of roofing supplies. Basically they sit in a marshalling yard somewhere in a parking lot or a military base and paid $1,000 just for storage. And that usually happens with category 4 and 5 hurricanes that do a lot of wind damage. But here's the thing. Some guys sat for 30 days, made 30 grand in 30 days doing nothing. The government was like, wow, that kind of sucks. We don't want to do that. So back in 2017, one of the things that fueled one of the most banging markets we saw in the spot market, and you travel local guys probably remember this if you were there at that time. That was back when a lot of Schneider guys were going over to Travel Loco and another spot market. And 2017, we had 3 hurricanes in a row that hit the Houston, in the southeast. I think Louisiana, Mississippi was in there. And buku bucks going down there. Big money. Same thing, same as Katrina, right? FEMA loads, rock. The government was like, yeah, we need to really change this. So what they do is, with the advanced technology they have to predict hurricanes, those water loads that need to go down to Florida are happening now. So it just looks like a regular load. So the odds of finding that magic FEMA load are slim to none. That's going to pay big. But because they're going to ship ahead of time, so they're not desperate. Now, flatbedders, step deck, you're looking at probably generators, moving equipment, wood, roofing supplies, things of that nature. Van, you're looking at water, canned goods, stuff that, emergency supplies pretty much. So, and then reefer trucks, you're going to, of course, it's going to be food or whatever, and medication possibly. So I'm not saying don't do those loads because, it's good to help out. And usually they lift the hours of service so you can get it done. But here's the thing, make sure your truck is well stocked. And also, um, just be prepared that you're not going to get a load out of this area. Now, most people did head out of Florida anyways. But if you look at up here, that's Atlanta. It's Atlanta, southern Georgia. Now it's going to be a tropical storm by the time it gets there. 40 miles per hour is not a big deal. But what's going to happen though in Georgia is that everybody's going to be fleeing north, and this is going to become a softer market than it already is. So if you live in the southeast, just know that this might cause rates to come down. You might get a good banger going home if you live in Georgia. But coming out, it's going to be a little bit tougher because all these trucks are going to be misplaced and they're going to be put up here. And it's going to make Georgia a softer market than it already is. So, these are just my thoughts, my opinions, things that I've learned over the years of running my own truck. So just be aware. If you get a good banging load in, make sure that you're going to be able to get out, physically get out as well. I mean, let's say they go, hey, you got to reload out of Panama City. Well, what if the power goes out there? Are you going to get loaded? No. What if the road gets flooded? They're talking about some torrential, tremendous rain. And this is just the forecast. It could be a category 4 by the time it hits here. So just be aware of that. Keep an eye on the weather. And don't be the guy, and I've been that guy. Don't be the guy that says, hey, man, I got this big paying load going to this place. I'm like, yeah, there's a hurricane there. So just be aware. So let's do some shout outs. So I'll put that other picture up here because this is important. This is from AccuWeather. So now if you're delivering like Port St. Lucie or Orlando, I don't think it's as bad. I think they're more of, watch. But this area right here is where it's going to get it. And so just be aware of that when you're booking your freight this week. And if you live in Florida, just you're used to this, right? You're used to this, just like people live in North Dakota are used to 50 below zero. So just know that. Anyways, good morning. Let's do some shout outs. And hope all is well. All right. Wrote that down. WT Johnson, good morning. You're the first one in here. So your notifications are working unless you just stumbled upon it. Truck for Life, good morning. Ratman Roden, good morning from Georgia. Make sure you're out of there by the end of the week there, sir. I'm sure you will. Grafting Word, Mr. Charles, what's up? Hope Mr. Charles, I wish you'd start doing videos again because you have an extraordinary amount of cost, have your own authority, and you're surviving in this market. And hats off to you, my friend. Yeah, your notification was late, and look, I should be starting a little bit early, like 6:55 or whatever. Stuart, my weekend was decent. Hung out Saturday night. Hung out with one of our contractors and her husband, and I thought we had some good conversations and cool trucking. He was and then he couldn't get enough of me, so he came into my live feed Saturday night, which we talked about. If you guys don't mind, check out the Saturday night's live feed. We talked about my old channel. We showed some videos without audio because I'm an idiot, and showed what was going on 10, 14 years ago. So when I first started. Max Force, hello. It was fun. It was fun. Just got notified. Cool. Shannon, what's up? Shannon, I'm sorry. I apologize to you. I did not do a guitar feed last night. I got busy and then I just wasn't in the mood. You know, sometimes you can burn yourself out on this YouTube stuff. And I've been working pretty hard last week when it came to YouTube. You know, I was cutting up the live feeds and putting that all together. And Saturday night came along and I think Mr. Best was live. So, you know, usually, you know, he gets better live numbers than I do. So I usually try not to compete with that. Dom, what's up? Killian's Trucking, good morning. Pale Rider TV, good morning. Speaking of Pale Rider and James Best, I noticed that I did watch a little bit of that last night, and your video came the topic about you getting a truck. So that was interesting. Top of the morning, Steve, says CDN Freight Broker. Congratulations on your channel last week. You provide a lot of excellent content. Yep, and the views aren't getting up out there. So, but I appreciate that. I just got to keep going. Look, it's consistency. That's kind of what keeps going. I will have to deal with my own truck probably later this week or early next week. And it's good coffee. It was good coffee because my wife actually made it this morning. Usually I'm the one making coffee in the morning because I get up before her, but she was up before me this morning. I take a load home every Friday that delivers Monday, so I get the weekend home while making money. There you go, Killings. That's how you do it. Depending on where you live, it's even easier to do that. Cattle hauling, what's up? Has a service hours of service suspended in it in Florida. Oh, okay. Let me reread that. Hours of service suspended in Florida. I'm booked rolling north till Wednesday. Good deal, Shannon. So hopefully your truck's going good. That's exactly why state emergency is put in place now, so logistics does not get backlogged. So yeah, that's the other thing. You're going to see a load. Hey, I've got a load going from Battle Creek, Michigan, going to Tampa, 1,000 miles, 1,100 miles, and paying 6,000. Needs to be there tomorrow. You might see that too. I don't know about 6,000, but Morning from Neenah, Wisconsin, here until tomorrow night. Nomadic Brit, hope you're doing well. I was getting caught up in your channel when I saw the live. Good deal. Good deal, WT. Hot seat, good morning from Effingham, Illinois. That's a good spot. Morning, everyone. Heading to dealership, see what the axle doctor says about my axle spindle. Yeah, Fate Trucking, that was a man, it's frustrating enough to have truck breakdowns, but when they're caused by somebody else's issues, that's even more frustrating. That's why it's important to have a great foundation, because you could be sitting innocent in a dock, and the yard dog decides he hates you and has the trailer take out the hood of your truck. What do you do about that? If you don't have a strong foundation, how do you recover from things like that? And Fate Trucking, if you guys don't know, check out his channel. But he had a wheel seal replaced, and the shop screwed it up, and they're paying for it, right? I hope. So, but he's down for the count. And how's DIY doing? I haven't heard from him in a while. I haven't seen him on the YouTubes. I meant to send Adam a text and see how he was doing. So, Adam, if you're watching, hope you're doing all right. Pale Rider, I heard he was talking about me. Do you know about what time in the video? I think it was about 2 hours in. 2 hours in. Oh, hold on a second. All right, we're back. Sorry about that. Lumpers, man. Lumpers have been a pain in my driver's butts the last couple of days. So, yeah. But what's up, Snorelord? New to your channel. Assy McGee, what's up? I think I've seen your name before. Not sure where. But I appreciate you coming in. Being a carrier is difficult, and most brokers don't appreciate it. A carrier can have super high six-figure income for a year, expenses, deductions, government owes you money, or average take-home pay. Yep, I agree with that statement. A lot of these lumpers are going to apps, so that's kind of annoying. Especially if you're in a low signal area. If you've ever delivered Ardmore, Oklahoma Dollar General, you'll be lucky. I don't care what carrier you're on. You're lucky to get a good signal, and so then you're dealing with that, and a lot of these places don't even want to see your face anymore. So it's completely. So my question to lumpers, if you're watching, okay, if you can be completely paper free, and it's just a few clicks of an app or a website, why does the driver still need to be involved? Why can't that online setup be done directly with the person that's paying that, not the driver? Pale riders talk about this. But we have a technology now. Why can't lumpers be prepaid? It's there. Maybe I don't understand. Oh, well, obviously I don't understand, or else I wouldn't be asking that question. But if apps and internet is involved, why does the driver now have to be involved? So that's my 2 cents here on that. So let's do some spot market looking. It's Monday morning, so a lot of this stuff isn't going to be accurate. So let's. I mean, it's going to be accurate, but it's not going to be like. Well, that was a dumb statement. I apologize. It's going to get in. It's a good gauge, but it's not gospel. So let's look at the density map. And I don't think I'm going to do a link today because I've got a couple of trucks I got to deal with today. One we had no choice but to book at the last minute. And let me tell you something, guys. What I'm finding is Fridays is a crap show. If you don't have your low booked by Friday morning, you have no leverage. I know several drivers that struggled this weekend because of that. And I've struggled a couple of weeks because of that. So just know that Friday is not the best time to book a load. Now, I'm sure there's somebody that'll disagree with me, but it's been my experience that in the last month that Fridays are absolutely no leniency, no leverage. They know you need to get moving. And so hopefully you find the broker that has the hot load that's got to be there by Monday. And here's the other thing I'm going to talk about. So let's put this on van while I talk about this. This is the 123 low board. 48065 is my code. Gets you 30 days for free, and it gets you all the tools that you see on the left-hand side for and I'll show off those tools, maybe not today, but later. But tools like this for $35 a month. 48065. And I'll get into the comments. There's some good comments coming up. So, but so my best numbers this week was the driver that worked 7 days and ran about 3,000 miles. We're at the market where quantity comes over quality. Here's what I mean by that. So you're looking at rate per day. Rate per mile is it's significant, but not. Don't let those numbers keep you sitting. In other words, if something's paying $1.80 a mile and it's light, no tolls, goes to a state where fuel prices are decent, and it gets you out of a bad market, there's nothing wrong with that. As long as the rate per day makes sense. Because if you're making $3 a mile one direction and $1.50 the other direction, that equates to money, right? If as long as you keep moving. A couple of days ago, James Best was talking about, he had Spectre on there, and they were talking about just keeping moving. So you sit all day waiting for a load, and you find out that the same $2 crap is tomorrow too. That's why it's important to book ahead. We did a whole thing on that Friday or Wednesday and Friday. And we got some really great questions coming up. So let's, but I'm just saying, especially if you end up in a bad market, it's about rate per day at that point. So if your rate per day is 1,000 a day, how do you achieve that? Being a carrier is difficult. Most brokers don't appreciate it. A carrier can have super high six-figure. Okay, I already read that. Oh wait, yeah, I think I already read that. How can I tell when a load is double brokered? Ratman, it that's difficult. I know that when we check our credit, on Thunder Funding's credit checking app for the broker, it'll say some noteworthy issues are double brokering. It can be difficult to differentiate between a 3PL load and a double brokering load. So when you're looking at a low board, like let's say I'm going to use Landstar because they do a lot of co-brokering. Okay. If you see one shipper, or if you see one, let's say you see CH Robinson has a load from, I don't know, Horicon, Wisconsin to, only Illinois. Okay. And then you see Landstar have the same exact load. So you call them both loads, and they're the same exact load, but yet Landstar's offering a little bit less. That's usually a co-brokered load. Now, Landstar does have some direct freight, so it's not always like that. But brokers that tend to co-broker are Convoy. I know they're one. They're doing a lot of co-brokering with USA Trucks right now in the Southeast. If it's on Convoy, if it says bid only, and they don't even give you a price, then that's a co-brokered load, especially if the details say you must have a carrier packet filled for USA Truck or something like that, which, to me defeats the purpose of using Convoy. I'm set up with you. If I'm a new authority, I'm set up with you, Convoy. Why do I need to set up with USA? If I'm going to set up with USA, I'm going to get that load from USA Trucks. So, but look on the rate con. If it says this load cannot be co-brokered or double brokered or whatever, I mean, a lot of them say that, I guess. So the short answer is I'm not sure, but you can kind of spot them after a while looking at the load boards. I don't know how often it happens with flatbed step deck stuff, but it can be hard. That's a good question for CDN and or Sage. So because I honestly I could spot some, but just knowing the customers, knowing the lane, a lane that you do, like I do the same lanes over and over. I think that's how I kind of spot them. And also, if they have a Gmail account in the description of the load, avoid. I agree about lumpers. Either shipper or broker should pay. Exactly. What I understand is why you book a load for today, but can't drop until tomorrow, 24 hours later. Well, because they're not ready for your stuff. The shipper's eager to get that stuff out, but yet the receiver is not eager to receive it. If that's what you're talking about. And then on the weekends, and Shannon, you probably dealt with this or probably saw a little bit of this. A lot of loads are posted for Friday to pick up. And then they'll say, well, this actually picks up on Saturday or Monday. I tend to avoid those because obviously they're trying to finagle you into doing that load, and they don't have the exact appointment set. Give me a second. All right, I'm back. Loaded to capacity, headed to Ohio. That's going to be fun. Going up, probably go up. I don't know where you're at. Tuesday afternoon, Wednesday, Thursday are best booking days. Absolutely. Brokers should pay for lumper service up front in the first place. Right. I agree. T-Bone, good morning. Cupid, Stunt, Trucking. I'll just ask their brokers for Call the shipper and say, good morning. This is John calling on behalf of the broker you booked the load with, calling about load number. If shipper seems confused, red flag, just one tip. Then I also avoid blind shipments. I don't play that game. Once called a broker on a load. It was a double blind. I'm like, okay, so explain this to me. He goes, well, when you get to the shipper, you have to say it's doing this and this and this. And then we're going to print you a new BOL. So when you go to deliver, that's the BOL that you're going to do. And then you got to tell them this, this, and this. I'm like, man, I'm out. And then they want to pay you, 20% under 30-day. I'm like, yeah, have a good day. Sterling, what's up? Mr. Mallory, good morning. Bucky Show, good morning. You are driving. So this is Van. As you can see, the same states are green, same states are orange. New Mexico's back to red. Now, Florida, I imagine it's going to be red here in a couple of days. Let's do step decks just for Ratman. So nobody else watch. This is just for Ratman. No, I'm kidding. There's your step deck. That's what you want to be. Now, the other thing this hurricane's going to affect is Georgia, obviously, but also South Carolina, depending on what it tracks. Now, it could be just torrential rain at that point. I mean, it probably will be just torrential rain, but again, it's going to make this soft market. And despite the green, Georgia is a soft market right now. It's not as banging as it used to be, at least in Van. Let's add flatbed. Apply. There you go. There's flatbed. And I'll be interested to see this pattern come here about a month from now. We'll go to any while I explain something. Well, let's I'm going to unshare the screen here for a second. We're going to look at the DAT board real quick. The number one tool on the DAT board is load ratio count. So that means you can get the cheap DAT and the fancy 1, 2, 3 and be pretty good. All right, here we go. Alabama's actually looking pretty good today. I mean, it's still unbalanced by not by much though. Alaska, that's fun. Look at Arizona. You take a load into Arizona. This is Van, by the way. Yeah, you're not going to get squat out. You're probably going to do a shorty up to Cali or down to Cali and then grab something out of there. Arkansas is looking good. California, speaking of which, 31.79 going in, 27.95 coming out. There was some really good advice for Nevada on James Best channel, talking about team freight. And if you don't want to sort through 8 hours, it's there's a lot of team freight that comes out of California. And again, you're looking at rate per day, not rate per mile when it comes to team freight. Colorado, not bad. That's interesting. So, but they're still going to sell you that low rate. Now, there's always discussion about the averages. Okay. I once booked a load into Colorado for $1,000 over the 30-day because the local guy that lives there told me, hey, you know what? Go for the moon. And I got it. Then I got right at, if not a little bit above, the 30-day coming out for that driver. So there's that. The averages are a focal point, but it shouldn't be the focal point. It is only another tool. You should know what you need. You should know what your numbers are. And the posted rates and the average rates will tell you what's coming out. So you can recognize and spot a bad or soft area. Connecticut, stay out. DC, stay out. Delaware, stay out. Florida, 2780 in, 931 out. So that's a huge ratio, and that's why you can't get squat out of there. It'll be interesting to see what this looks like at the end of the week. Georgia, 1860 in, 1778 out. That's fixing to change. Iowa looks good. Idaho, not bad. Illinois is phenomenal. Indiana, pretty good. Let's look at Missouri, 737, 1109 out. That's pretty good. Let's look at Oklahoma. 532 in, 274 out. So you're going to take a little bit of hit out of Oklahoma. So I tend to, if I do go into Oklahoma now, I did put a truck in Ardmore, but it was paying really good. Covered his weekend pretty good, and got him a shorty from Dallas to Oklahoma, and then from there I can put him in the Joplin Tulsa market, and he'll be all right. PA is pretty good. Tennessee is better. For some reason, though, I'm some of the rates, they're lowering the rates in Tennessee. Texas is a little lopsided. All right, Texas, already mentioned that. VA, about even. Washington, a little bit more coming out than in. And Wisconsin, look at Wisconsin. So So yeah, there's your deal. Some broker shippers will also try to use you for storage for a couple of days as well. That is true. Good morning from Oakland, California. Wow, the map looks quite odd for the Northeast, at least. Yeah, I mean, look, if you're going up to Maine, Vermont, New Hampshire, Massachusetts, it's going to be tough to get out. So if you're going to go in the Northeast, I suggest this area or this area. If you go West PA, you can grab something out of Ohio. But if you do like this part of PA, it's going to be a struggle because this is a soft and down market, so it creates softness here. So Northeast, you got to look at tolls, and then something else. When it comes to tolls, you have to, and this is why knowing your numbers is in your fuel mileage is important. So let's say that to avoid X amount of dollars for tolls, you go X amount of miles out of route. You have to estimate the fuel cost of those extra miles out of route versus the toll price and see which one's the better option. If it's only a 20 or 40 or even $50 difference, I will take the toll road because it's quicker. It'll be more efficient, better stops, better rest areas, stuff like that. So those are, so like you have to measure those things. And that's hard to do on the fly. That's where somebody like me comes in. That's why you don't want to be in a situation of desperation where you're just going to book something and go and then deal with the consequences later, because that could really put you in a bad situation. Picking up below where the broker said, do not use their bill of lading, use ours only. Yeah, that's a blind shipment. If this is a new broker and you're suspicious the load is double brokered, find another load. If you think the load is co-brokered, ensure you have good pickup and delivery numbers, get clear POD sign. See, I knew CDN would help. 53 reefer, Tracy to Salt Lake. You want me to look that up? Thanks for the $5, by the way. And Fate Trucking, if you're still watching, thank you for the super chat you did. I think I forgot to thank you on Friday. So let's search for a load. Click on Find Loads. New search. Tracy, California. Tracy Kai. 150-mile radius. Going to Salt Lake. Is that for today? Trailer type, reefer. Take out van. We got it at 43,000, so that way we're not. Let's do we'll do today and tomorrow. Doink, doink. All right. Search. Not a lot of choices. You've got, this is your newest load. You've got Yarrington, Nevada, the North Salt Lake, Pepsi Logistics. Average rate is 15. The average rate is 294, but these are all the tools that I'm talking about. So this is the high and low range. This load once went for $8 a mile. So they're down quite a bit. But if you look at that graph, that should show you the trend, right? So I would definitely ask for way more. especially on how many miles is this? 534 miles. Yeah. But there's no posted rate, so and it does a credit check. There's your credit score, trans credit 98. Their Thunder funding approved. 32 days to pay, 30 days to pay. So looks like a solid broker as far as pay goes. And of course, you can estimate your profit on just the not posted rate, but the average rate. So, and the profit calculator. Profit calculator is pretty cool. I'm gonna assume that a lot of you have not put calculator to paper to figure out where you're at. So there you go. Ratman, if the broker is factorable, load gets delivered clean and signed and printed name on POD, accurate quantity and product description equals your guarantee paid by law, either by a broker, shipper, consignee. We got you. We got you. Tennessee, CDN, you're awesome. He is. Seeing if my 260 mile is good any day. Is that what you got? And we could do a rate check. So let's do a rate check. Tracy, California to Salt Lake City. All right. We want reefer. Get rate. Doink. All right. So line haul revenue is 2275. Here's the high and low. Or if it'll let me zoom in. No, it won't. Yeah, it's not letting me zoom in here. So average rate was 318. This is the low was 283 and the high was 354. And so there's your graph to show you. So it gives you the month. So in December, it was 424 low, 437 average, and 531 high. So the lowest one was in May. May is when they started to drop the rates quite a bit. And it's very fluctuates quite a bit. So there you go. So I think you were I think one time Sterling you were asking about if you can animate the map to show things in the past, and you can. So there's your demonstration. Again, 48065 for my code 123. Tell them I sent you. Get yourself 30 days free and $35 for all the tools. You're welcome. Good morning, Darnell. Hope you're doing all right. So, anyways, there's a lot of good, cool tools on here. So let's look at van rate check. Actually, let's do the opposite. Let's do reefer, but we're gonna switch this around. Salt Lake to Tracy. Look at that, $1.70 is the average. You can see how much lower this was. So Salt Lake is considered a backhaul type freight. And it coincides with when you look at Utah on the DAT, 472 in, 322 out. Well, that's van. Let me do reefer here. Now let's look at Utah. 248 in, 217 out. A little bit even, but still, that's a low number. So that's how they get away with that low rate. Supply and demand, people. Almost knock my coffee over. These are the low ratios for reefer, by the way. You're looking for the dark blue here. Maine. You might, oh, wow, Maine's good. No, 122 out versus 45 going in, but there's only 122 loads in the entire state of Maine on the DAT board. That means you're going to fight. I mean, that's all there is to it. Versus Wisconsin, you have 810 loads versus 290, 269 coming in. All right, hold on, CDN. 260 all miles. That's good. Can you look up Van Fredericksburg, Maryland? Coming out of there? Sure. Give me a second, and then I'll deal with CDN stuff here in a second. All right. You search Fredericksburg. I'm not seeing it. Maryland. Tell about Frederick, Maryland, or Fredericksburg. There's Fredericksburg, Virginia, Texas, Iowa, PA, Indiana, Virginia, Indiana. I'm not seeing Maryland. Give me something close by. Let's see. Let's do this here. Frederick, Maryland. Okay. All right. Let me. I wish the menu wouldn't do that. Let's see. Whoops. All right. Frederick, Maryland. For today and tomorrow for van. So we'll put that there. Apply. And then we got to get rid of Salt Lake City here. Get rid of it. Anywhere? We'll just click anywhere. Search. Let's see. We got Dover, Delaware to Corona, California. 43.20. $1.64 a mile. Posted rate? Yeah, I don't think so. Already seeing loads from PA to Florida, Texas, Florida. By the way, there's how many results are here? We can just do it for today. No, this is for today and tomorrow. So we'll do newest. You can filter the age of the posting. Here's Vineland, New Jersey to Atlanta. 801 miles for 2,000. I would totally try 250 on that. 250. No, that is 250 mild. Go for $3,000 on that. It's above 123's average. It's a light load. Oh, this says reefer. Oh, van reefer. Okay. So they're above the average. They're approved for Thunder Funding, and they got a 98 on trans credit. So pre-approved by Thunder Funding. And by the way, brokers, you can post for free on the 123 low board. Just saying. So, and you could save that load. And here's look, and look, this is how fast it updates. So just looking at the posting, there's 2 new loads. So when you're in a very volatile market and you need to refresh, this automatically refreshes. So let's do the highest rate. Highest rate is, highest rate does not necessarily mean the best rate per mile. So, what I look for, okay, so this is ridiculous. Okay, this is something that you have to negotiate. Do not take this board's word for this, or any low board's word for this, okay? They want you to take a load out of Jersey to go to Phoenix. They got it posted at $1.24 a mile. Now their average is showing 4,500, so $1.90 a mile. Now Jersey, it's lower than your averages across the Midwest. Okay. So you just saw the load ratios on the DAT board for Arizona. You ain't going to get squat out of Arizona. So why take the hit to Arizona for that long? Now, you may not have a choice. Maybe your direct shipper is out of Phoenix and you need to hurry up and get back. But you have to negotiate. Don't let that posted rate tell you what you're making. You have to negotiate. You have to sit there and say, hey, don't be insulting. Don't be combative. Just say, hey, good morning. Logistics dynamics. I'm looking at your load picking up in Clayton, New Jersey, going to Phoenix, Arizona. What are the details on this load if it's still available? And then they're going to answer probably like, all right, it's 42,000. Oh, wait, 27,000 pounds of dog food going to, PetSmart and, Phoenix there or whatever, something like that, Tractor Supply. And we've got a rate of $3,000. Now, right there, they've set the anchor. Okay. Now, you're going to do one of two things. If you don't know your numbers, you're going to be like $3,000. Okay. All right. That's where these lane averages you have to know. You have to know what should be paying at least, right? And then you're going to look at it, and or they're going to or the person's going to go, I can't believe that you did $3,000. That's bullshit. I'm gonna I'm gonna I'm gonna man, screw you, and hang up on them. Don't do that either. Okay. So what you do is you go, well, man, I need to be at 48 on this. I mean, that's where my that's what I'm going to need for this, because Arizona's kind of a down market right now, and it's a little bit, you just list the reasons why your rate is your rate, right? And you can even say something like, well, yeah, we're way far apart, it looks like we've done this load for you before at 46. So if we could be around 46, I'm willing to come down a little bit, so use the term we a lot when it comes to sales. when you're trying to sell yourself, you know, well, we can get that taken care of for you for $4,800. And my driver will be empty right there in Clayton. And I've talked them into going into Arizona, just for you guys if you can do this 46. And then you go from there. And if they say no, we 32 is all I got in it. That's what they're going to say. They're going to go about $200 above what they posted it for, and they're going to say 32 is all I got in it. Then you go, and Matt, you watching? This is what you got to do. And then you go, well, yeah, you know, yeah, if volumes are really good in this area, and I'm looking at a couple loads that are paying at least 4,400, I could probably get it done for that. If you wanted to hand this load to me, I'll get it off your desk, and there'll be no problems. We got a good record. We'll download whatever tracking app you have, and we'll get this done. Nope, dude, 32, click. Then you're like, okay. And then you just move on. You don't dwell on it. Don't call them back and say, can you do 38? No, that now you're desperate. Now they've got you. And let's say you're looking at this load because you have to get back to Phoenix. Don't sit there and tell the broker that. Don't sit there like, I got to get this truck to Phoenix. What do you got on that? Don't do that. That's a good way for them to go, yeah, we had it posted at 3,000, but customer just said 2,700. So know your numbers. That's the important part. Okay. All right, Truck for Life. You enjoy your weekend or your day off or whatever. Never bid against yourself. You destroy your credibility. Absolutely, Adam. Absolutely. So let's look at this spreadsheet that CDN sent me. You got your line haul miles, deadhead miles, total miles. Having a good rate calculator like this is great. And I wish I could go into this deeper. You know what? Maybe CDN and I can do a video where he gets on here and he shows you this, because I think he'll be able to share his screen as well. We might have to arrange that, CDN, whenever you got some time. I think this is good. This is important. I would want a chance to look this over before I really talk about it. But it gives you your carrier profit, so this is a good calculator to have, right? And if you're not spreadsheet savvy, find someone that is, like CDN, for example. So thinking about exploring some different power only options out and back of Reno. What a difference a year has made. Sterling, I would look into some of the mega carriers that have all the freight in the area, or maybe the smaller carriers that allow you to do power only. Because at this point you're looking for consistency, right? So it consistent look that, and that's why long miles can be great, because it creates consistency. The problem that I find with a lot of loads right now is that they're waiting to the last minute to book them, and then when they finally do, you're pressed for time. And so what happens is your hours, you're on recap hours, and then that kind of, now you have to get the short runs that hopefully pay better. And right now the short game just, it looks like crap, especially in the Southeast. I mean, it's still decent for van for Michigan to Wisconsin or Michigan to Illinois. something like that. But if everybody's doing that, then what do you got, right? So, and a lot of these loads are last minute. They're harder to book ahead. So sometimes the miles is what creates the revenue, unfortunately. This spreadsheet is customizable as you can set your profit and cost for your business. There you go. I did third party and LTL like Oak Harbor Freight right away last year. Yeah, it was a completely different market last year. And see, that's the thing with Power Only, though. It got flooded when there was a trailer shortage. And, now, look, I believe Cool Trucking was sending me a bunch of equipment that's for sale. Now, you can't go by truck paper for the most part because a lot of stuff's posted that they don't have. So you got to be careful with that. But for the most part, equipment prices are coming down. People are cashing out. And so there is potential for some good deals right now. But just know that if you enter the market as an owner operator right now, especially a spot market, you're going to you're gonna learn real quick. And you better have a strong foundation because there's not much meat on the bone, and you don't want to be in a position where one day can take you out. You got to have a strong foundation. I know FedEx Ground is looking, so is Panther in my region. Well, Chris, look, despite the lower Christmas estimates that are happening, it's still going to create some revenue. It's not like completely done. So, another tip is if a load goes to a down market, if you can offer me an outbound load, I will consider your posted 3,200 rate. Otherwise, I need 4,600 last month. I sat in that town a week. That negotiating tactic has bit me in the butt, CDN. This is one of the few things I'm going to disagree. It's a good idea. However, you could have a broker that will lie and give you a ghost load, and then about a day before you get to Phoenix, then that load cancels. That happened to me at Landstar all the time. They would post these strung together loads. I'm thinking, oh, cool, that's 2 weeks. I don't have to look for a load. Second load canceled. Whole thing shot. So you have to be really careful with that because there are brokers that will lie to make you take that 3,200. Even if they did have a return load, I would not do that for 3,200. So, a smart broker would post that, hey, I've got a load from Clayton, New Jersey to Phoenix, and then and then there's a load out of Phoenix to say Joplin, Missouri. They'll string. I mean, Uber does that. Uber and Convoy have been stringing together loads like that. And so when you look at the all miles, it's about the same. But then if one of those loads cancels, you kind of screwed yourself. So I don't do string together loads. Now, an important part of a broker relationship is doing what you've said there on that comment. Like if I talk to my main guy and go, hey man, looking at this load you got going to Phoenix, what can you do on that? Well, I can do X amount. I'm like, all right, well that's a decent rate. Can you get me out of there? Because I don't want to do that load if you can't get me out of there. And that's how I roll with that. Said you got to be able to get me out of there. And then there's still that risk, but at least he's not lying to you. He or she's not lying to you to just for you to take that load for a low rate. Because I still won't sell myself short like that. Not by that much. Not by that much. I sell my experience and abilities to pull triples in Nevada and Utah. There you go. I have the doubles, triples endorsement, but I've never done that. Very good point about the ghost loads. And look, when it comes to van, I know that CDN and Sage, they do a higher grade of freight, than us cheap van guys. Van is very cutthroat, and there are a lot of brokers that will tell you what you want to hear, just to get you to move the load. So you have to be careful what you tell them. Just like I stated earlier, you don't want to go, well, I really need to get my truck to Phoenix. Don't say things like that. I was at a record show yesterday. There was a record I wanted. It was King Diamond's Abigail. Found it in this sea of crap. Right? It was in good shape, original pressing, whatever. And I'm not big on that, but that's not relevant to the story. I picked it up, and the guy that was selling it was directly in front of me, and he saw I picked it up, and it said $65. And I rolled my eyes and just shook my head like, ah, and put it back down. He's like, well, I mean, you can negotiate if you want. I'm like, so he pulls it out. He goes, oh, 65. That's too high. You're right. So he goes, what would you give me for it? Like, well, I don't know. So he writes down 35 on a new sticker and he puts it down there. I'm like, yeah, I'll do it for 35. So a buddy of mine that owns a record business, I went over to his booth and I told him what, it's like, man, my eye rolled, negotiated half, 50% down. He's like, so he looks it up on Discogs and it's $100 record all day long. So yeah, I wish my eye roll can negotiate better rates, but he can't do that on the phone. But, but obviously there was a reaction there, right? And you try not to have a physical reaction. You don't want to like, hey, yeah, we're trying to move that load for 3,200 on a lane that should be paying 45. You're not going to, that's bullshit. I'm not doing that. Don't do that. Okay. Number one, try not to put yourself in a position to do that, but don't just like, all right, well, yeah, we're too far apart. Have a good day. Don't sit there and say, good luck. Sucks to be you, man. Or, if you call me back, it's going to be 4,900. Don't do that. They're not going to call you back. There's too many loads. There's too many trucks per load. They're not going to call you back unless you impress them. But still, 32 from 45, what the average was, is still way far apart. And if your rate's higher than the average, which it should be, especially if you're looking at 1, 2, 3 low board averages, you should be way higher than that. Always shoot high. I mean, don't look. If you're shooting too high, you're going to know. You're going to sit for a day, and the brokers are going to yell at you and hang up on you. So that's when you know you're too high for the lane that you're in. So that's why it's important to know the lane that you're in. Your tactic is much better about getting you out. Thank you. Good morning. Sorry I'm late. I love what you're doing, bro. I'm picking up bits and pieces of knowledge every time I tune in here. Thanks. Will Burner, anything I can do to help? That's awesome. That's my intention. I'm not trying to be the most popular YouTuber. I'm not trying to be the most extravagant YouTuber. I'm not trying to be the most exciting. And I do promote 123 low board, but we also look at the data. I'm pretty honest about that. And because DAT is the standard, everybody's been using it for 40 years, 30, 40 years now. So, but there's look, I'm not some be all end all, and I don't know everything. And there are other YouTubers that probably disagree with a lot of things that I say, and that's fine. I'm always up for a friendly discussion. And everybody has their own formula. Everybody has their own way of dealing with the spot market. I have my ways. Other people have their ways. And here's the most important thing when it comes to dealing with trucking in general. Once you figure it out, it will change. Once you figure out your magic formula of negotiating, the market conditions, allow for something else. When you can throw a rock and make $4 a mile on anything in the van, no matter where you were going, a year ago, you didn't have to have negotiating skills. You just had to have the truck agreeing to do whatever they needed you to do. Now, not so much. And you can still make money in this market. It's still possible. And if I can help make your day a little easier by making a person realize that they shouldn't go down to Miami, Florida during a hurricane, that makes the industry a little bit better. If you want to change the world, you start with yourself. And I've had to grow. I've had to grow a lot. I've had to make the mistakes. I've had to deal with the BS. I've been the guy that went to a market that you couldn't get out of. I've been the guy that, you know, didn't take into account $300 of tolls when I went in somewhere thinking I was making money. I've been there, done that. And so that's where my knowledge comes from is experience and mistakes. And the mistakes that I see other drivers making in situations that I would never put myself in. Like I would never be a 1099 employee with no benefits when it comes to being a company truck driver. I would never do that because there's the potential for a lot of there's some Facebook posts about some companies out of Chicago that are ripping drivers off, not paying them. And when you're a 1099, there's no recourse. Labor board, not labor union, labor board says, well, sucks to be you, can't help you. So if you are a company driver, make sure you're getting great benefits, and it's a company that's solid with their safety and solid with their operations. Not one of these fly by night companies that tell you to do illegal stuff and change your logbook and give you ratty equipment. Don't do that. Now, those are the things that I avoided by my dad's experience, by everybody else's experience. I mean, look, I live in Springfield, Missouri. And Springfield, Missouri has a lot of CDL holders here. I mean, we're the land of Prime. I mean, you got so many major companies here. You got Prime, IWX, Transland, RBX. Ozark has a terminal here. Old Dominion, SAIA, however you say that. Even Road or Yellow Roadway, wherever they're called now, YRC, they have a terminal here. FedEx has got 2 new terminals here. A lot of truck drivers in this area. Wiltrans, Wilson Logistics, and not to mention all the small mom and pop companies like 2 or 3 trucks, like JSK, that kind of thing. A lot of authorities come out of this area. And so you hear the stories, you talk to people, you watch the videos, you learn by experience of others. That's where I try to help everybody out. And if I give you advice that's horrible, then call me out on it. Tell me so I can learn. My ego doesn't care. Wow, Steve, you're completely wrong about the market of Utah. Okay. Well, tell me why I'm wrong. And then maybe you can give me a perspective that I did not know. And I've had people that, well, flatbed, this state is really good. I'm like, really? Oh, okay. Then I can investigate it and utilize that information for my trucks. Thank you, Hot Seat. You are correct, Steve. There are many ways to negotiate, calculate expenses, and profit. The key is having a strategy, then periodically compare your strategy with others for accuracy and new ideas. There you go. That's the whole video right there. That's the whole video right there that CDN just said. Do you negotiate or try to get a pickup or delivery appointment changed to maximize your log hours? You can try, but here's the problem with that, McGee. So I've run into a situation where, like, hey, look, this is a good load, this is a good rate, but I need it to deliver Thursday afternoon, not Friday morning, because my rate per day is kind of low on this. And then the broker tells you, well, yeah, we can get you a Thursday appointment, and then they don't. Sorry, couldn't make it happen, but you've taken the load. On the other side of that, what I've done is, so you got to be aware of that. You got to be careful of that. Now, the other side of the thing I've done is, like, I've called on a load. Like one time I was near Savannah, Georgia. That's when the rates were pretty decent. I was about an hour and a half away from Savannah, I believe. And I called on a load that picked up at 11. It was 10 a.m. I called the broker and he's like, yeah, this picks up at 11. I'm like, man, that's a good rate. That's a good load, but I probably won't get there till noon. Can they work me in? It was a weekend load, so I knew I had plenty of time on it. They're like, well, let me see. So broker calls me back 5 minutes later. Yeah, we can make that happen. Now, when you do that situation, you lose a little bit of negotiating power because he would rather find the truck that'll do it for $200 cheaper that can be there a half an hour early. But that was not the position I was in. So usually that situation only works to your advantage. Now, on the other side of that, he could have been desperate. I think this particular time he wasn't desperate, but he was willing to pay me the rate that I negotiated above his posted rate, knowing that I was going to be a half hour behind the appointment time. So, and this was me. I was. This is about a year and a half ago. I was driving the truck, and so there's so many micro scenarios when it comes to negotiating, when it comes to loads, but always ask the details, times, product before you even talk money. And some brokers won't even give you a chance. You call, hey, I'm looking at your load picking up in Joplin, Missouri, going to Columbus, Ohio. Yeah, it picks up. Yeah, we're paying $3,000. Picks up today, delivers tomorrow. You're like, all right, what are the details? I have to pry the details out of them. They're already at the money. Just like a driver's like, I want to do your load for $3,000. Do you want to know the details? Sure, but yeah, I'll do it for $3,000. You don't want to be that guy either. So there's so many different. A lot of people want me to do negotiating videos, and guys, I'm not perfect at negotiating. I think one of the important skills of negotiating is being able to think of stuff off the fly and sell yourself. So you have to, like, and that's why if you're in a position where you're making 20 phone calls on every single load, you got to change that. Because when you make 20 phone calls, that 21st phone call, by then you're like over it. You're like, do you have the load? Okay. You could be a little bit more combative. You could sound more resentful. That's why I don't mind the email loads. If I'm not driving, I don't mind email loads. Now, if you're a single truck booking your own loads and you're in a market that 90% of it's email only, now a person might have to do something unsafe and against the law to book a load. So the fact that these brokers are doing a lot of that tells me that there's a lot of shenanigans, a lot of dispatch services that are booking these loads. So just be aware of all the different tactics and scenarios. And look, that comes over time. And like CDN said here, Compare your strategy with others, which is essentially what James was doing on his video a few days ago talking to Nevada. You know, you had several other people on there, Spectre, SoCal, and they're all saying, hey, these are different strategies for different markets. This is what I would do. This is what I've done. This is what you should do. Or this is what you want to do. Or I would look for this. I had a phone conversation with Nevada privately and said, "Hey, I have experience with the team. These are the things that I do. These are the things that I look for." So that's networking with the right people is key. Learning, open your mind. Just because you've been driving for 30 years doesn't mean that you know everything. I know people that have been driving half the time that I have that know a lot more than I do. And I know people that have been in the spot market for 2 years that figured quite a bit out. Something that took me 5 years to figure out. They figured it out within the first 2 weeks. So, one more comment, and then we got to end this. If anyone's looking for a new laptop, keep an eye on Lenovo ThinkPad X1 Carbon 14, blah, 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 45% plus discounts if you call. Okay. So, there you go. If you're looking for a laptop, CDN's got your commercial there for you. So with that being said, guys, thanks for watching. I hope that this video has either helped you or at least make you think a little bit. Even if I'm completely wrong, maybe it's got you thinking about something that you need to strategize for later. Watch out for the loads going to Florida this week, people. That's the gist. Okay, if you get anything from this video, there's at least that. And that's not my knowledge. That's the Weather Channel telling you that there's going to be some bad weather in Florida. So with that being said, strength for today, hope for tomorrow. Peace. Thank you for watching.